The New Mutants. Not sure how I feel about them overall. I feel like half the members are kinda cool and the other half are just really annoying. Or boring. I'm conflicted. So, I'm gonna try and get through that here. Here's the top 10 worst New Mutants. Number 10, Cypher. Cypher, with a Y, not to be confused with Cypher with an I, which if we're reusing names is already a pretty bad sign, has this super amazing mutant power of translation. Basically, the character can read any kind of language semi-telepathically, whether it be written, spoken, or body language. Now, that isn't to say this is without merit, and the powers of Cypher were eventually expanded upon to include being able to read body language to the point where he could read an opponent's combat language, making him an expert at fighting. And while that part is kinda cool, this was also expanded to him speaking binary. Not to mention how he can now read architectural structure, which is apparently a communicable language now. Overall, this guy's power set just seems to be vaguely defined, and overall, just kinda lame. But hey, a clerical mutant like this would be useful for city planning. Number 9, Wolfsbane. My main issue with Wolfsbane is she's just not a very interesting mutant. She's basically a glorified werewolf, which in a universe as creative as X-Men, just seems like someone wasn't trying that hard. As if that wasn't bad enough, in her lupine form, she actually gets less intelligent, so she struggles to comprehend more complex human concepts. So while she isn't incapable of understanding, her mutant ability just seems to create greater limits to her in spite of the benefits. She does get stronger, and her senses do significantly improve, as well as give her the ability to see heat sources, but ultimately, in a universe with cosmic destroyers, telepaths, and even just stronger animal-based mutants, Wolfsbane just doesn't end up standing out much. Number 8. Wallflower is basically the teen drama of X-Men, and at the end of her short soap opera-ic life, she's killed. Being a second-generation mutant, Wallflower, aka Lori Collins, received her power from her father, that power being the ability to control the emotions of others by using emitted pheromones. Her father, Sean Garrison, used that power to manipulate people, in particular, her mother Gail. Upon becoming pregnant with Lori, she became immune to his power and ended her relationship with Sean. Seeing what a monster her father was and how he'd hurt her mother, Lori isolated herself from other people. When her powers manifested, she caused an incident in which all the boys on a beach became attracted to her. This incident scared her and caused her to become even more isolated than she'd already been. When she finally arrived at the Xavier Institute, the soap opera continues, with her having a series of failed romances and using boys to make other boys jealous, causing said boys to get into fights, really just a series of episodes of the OC. And as mentioned, eventually she's killed by a sniper on the orders of William Stryker, thus ending the teen drama of Wallflower. Number 7. He's just gross. Glob Herman's just a nasty concept for a mutant. His entire body is made of bioparaffin, which means living wax. The wax is flammable, which basically means he spends a lot of time lighting himself on fire, and that's kind of it. Yeah, he's got super strength and all that, but like, the main thing is you can see through him to his organs, and his eyeballs just kind of extend out from his skull. Creative? Absolutely. Cool? Not really. He seems more like an experiment gone wrong than someone with a power. That said, he kinda reminds me of a gooey Halloween-styled Baymax in the latest volume of New Mutants. Number 6, Exceptional. Look, this isn't about whether I like the story. I actually do. And he was only on the New Mutants very briefly. I'm just saying, matter-of-factly, Exceptional, aka Bailey Hoskins, is exactly what he was designed to be. A really crappy mutant. And overall, just a really boring, annoying human being. And his power? He can explode himself. But if he explodes, he dies. Boom, that's it, he's dead, no more Bailey. And really, as far as mutant powers go, that's definitely sitting on the worst end of it. The most interesting thing about this character is just how amazingly bad his life is. But let me again reiterate, he's one of the worst, but in the best way possible, because it's intentional. The comic is called Worst X-Men Ever. It's written by Max Bemis of Say Anything, which anyone who's ever listened to him should know. He's fantastic about writing about rather miserable people. So it's completely enjoyable as a read. Just don't expect it to change your perspective on Bailey being a good mutant. He's not. Number 5. This guy's like a more visually pleasing version of Beak. The problem is, his powers are just kind of boring. He's got wings, and the wings give him a healing factor. And then his wings get cut off, and he loses everything interesting about him. I mean, I guess he still has the vocal cord powers of a lyre bird, but that's not really relevant when it comes to being on an X-Men team. And really, he's just kind of a sad character. He fell in love with a girl named Julia Cabot, whose father tried to kill him, but not being aware of his healing factor, failed to do so. However, Julia, believing he was dead, chose to drown herself with him. However, his healing factor brought him back to life and forced him to carry her lifeless corpse out of the water. Then he tried to kill himself a few times, but his healing factor kept bringing him back. Sadly, this character would eventually be killed by William Stryker as well. Number 4. Okay, Wither wins my award for being probably the dumbest mutant I have ever seen. I mean, it's honestly just infuriating. So after Scarlet Witch changed reality to take away 90% of the mutants' powers, Wither, seeing everyone declaring their powers are gone, immediately grabs Wallflower's arm to show her he can't make it decay, and then makes it decay. Like, first off, he didn't think to maybe try it on a flower or something first just to be sure, I don't know, you don't disintegrate someone's arm. But secondly, Icarus is standing right next to her with his wings. So maybe, put 2 and 2 together and figure out that maybe, just maybe, this isn't an absolute thing yet. Ugh, moron. Number 3. Okay, so a disclaimer. Admittedly, these two don't really count as New Mutants, but given they're featured prominently in the reboot, more so than some of the actual confirmed New Mutants cast, I'm gonna run with it for now. Since the way things are unfolding, I get the feeling they're gonna be pretty central to this story arc. And because they're twins, this is gonna count as 2. So this is also number 2. The creepy twins trope is kind of done to death. Making them morally ambiguous? It's been done. And I will be the first to say, I do actually enjoy the stories written around these characters, but Maxime and Manon kind of jump around for being ignorant children trying to help out and being manipulative and honestly kind of sadistic. Having most recently changed the memories of a man holding them hostage to have him murder his allies. Their hearts are in the right place, somehow. At least that's what everyone seems to believe. But they seem frustrated at the prospect of not having people murder each other. Granted, they are abused children, and surely they have a lot going in their heads, with what happened with Ahab, but I guess we'll see where they go with this storyline since it's currently ongoing in the latest volume of New Mutants, but right now, I'm not a big fan. Number 1. Honestly, Shatterstar is just boring as a mutant. That's really it. He's pretty much the embodiment of an overpowered action hero, from his Rob Liefeld design being just an overly muscular guy with a sword and a silly eye tattoo. It's really just a mishmash of exactly what stereotypes the 80s and 90s thought made someone a badass. Somehow, I'm not surprised this guy was brutally killed in Deadpool 2, and really, describing yourself as a better Deadpool and looking like that, it's not gonna win anybody over. What is that head crown even holding on to anyway? And those are our top 10 worst New Mutants. Anyone you think was worse? I gotta say, rebooting this universe to have way less X-Men was probably not the worst thing, especially with guys like Beak running around. Anyway, have a good one.